What's popping, YouTube family? It's your girl, SHOtheOT, your fave occupational therapist, here to help you and others live their best lives. Let's get started. Okay, as y'all already know by that title, today we're going to be talking about therapeutic use of self. What the heck is therapeutic use of self? All right, let me tell you. So if y'all haven't seen my last video, I posted last week. I talked a little bit about things that we learn in school that I feel like are just like different, like out in practice. And so this kickstarted this idea of talking about therapeutic use of self because I heard therapeutic use of self all throughout school, okay? And I really thought I had a good understanding. But then I realized that if somebody asked me what was therapeutic use of self, I didn't know how to formulate it. I didn't know how to put it into words. So I was like, I'm wondering if other people are feeling like that too. So before we get into this video, please go back and watch my last video that I recorded talking about the things that, you know, we learn in school, but it's a little bit different once you get out into practice. And then come back to this video and we can talk about therapeutic use of self. All right? I'm waiting. Bye. Go to the other video right now. All right. Back to therapeutic use of self. What the heck is it? What is it? Can you tell me? Because honestly, I spent about a good 3 hours like going through articles, looking at other people's blogs and all the things and trying to figure out what therapeutic use of self was. And so I finally came to the conclusion that it is simply just using yourself, like using your personality traits, using your identity, using your personal characteristics to form meaningful connections with your clients in order to get them to be motivated to engage in their occupations. That was a lot, but that's what it is, okay? So you're using your personality traits, your identity, your personal characteristics to form meaningful connections with your clients in order to encourage them to engage in their meaningful occupations. All right? That was a lot, but that's what it is. So take that definition. I mean, that was a lot of words, but I mean, that's the best way that I can describe it. Like, you're using yourself in order to form connections, in order to motivate them to engage in their occupations. All right. So I'm not just going to tell y'all what it is and then just be like, all right, y'all good. Y'all got the definition. Go about your day. I want to also talk about ways or things you need to incorporate in your sessions and in your practice in order to implement therapeutic use of self in your sessions with your clients. Because there's one thing to just know a definition, because I mean, I feel like we all know the definition of therapeutic use of self. You can go Google that, but like, you actually have to understand it and know what you need to do in order to use it out in practice. So that's what we're going to talk about next. How to establish therapeutic use of self in practice. The first thing you need to be able to do is be transparent. So transparency is, I feel, the number one thing that you need in order to utilize therapeutic use of self. You need to be able to open up, like, because we need to get close and personal with our clients, right? We need to know some personal things about our clients in order for us to do our job, right? But how are they supposed to feel comfortable sharing these personal details in their life if we can't be transparent with them? I'm not saying you got to tell them about your marital issues or what's going on with your mom and your dad and all the things. You don't have to get too personal, still keep it professional, but just be transparent. So for example, ways I like to be transparent with my kids is I like to really ask them, like, what did you do over the weekend? What did you do this morning at school? Like, what did you do? And then I like to engage in that conversation with them in the hopes that they're going to ask me, Miss Shania, what did you do? And so I will legit tell them what I did throughout my day. I will tell them what I did during the weekend. Whenever I'm asking about like their family or something, their brother, their sister, I'll talk about my brothers or my sisters. I don't have brothers. I don't know why I just said that. I talk about my sisters and my family. My husband. Like, I will honestly answer any questions that they have for me, because I want them to know that when I'm asking them stuff, I actually care. I actually want to know what's going on in your life, how you're doing, and things like that. And I want them to feel comfortable enough to be like, can I ask Miss Shania the same things? Yes, you can. And if a kid asks you something, because I work with kids, so if a kid asks me something a little too personal, you can always redirect, and you can always answer in a child appropriate way. Like, you don't have to go deep into your deepest, darkest secrets, okay? The children don't need to know that, all right? But you can still be transparent. Like, you can still be honest and open with your clients. So try your very best to do that. Find a way to connect with them. If they like baseball and you also like baseball, use that. That is good stuff, all right? I can't tell you how many times a kid tells me they're into like baseball or football or something, and I'm like, dang, I'm not really into that. But I will go back and like research some stuff so that I can talk about them with them, so they do know at least I care about what they like. But like, if you're into the same stuff that they're into, I mean, that's golden. Like, you can use that as major motivation. And so motivation is key with kids and adults. So if you can find any way to be transparent and to connect and build that rapport with your clients, that is a major way to start establishing therapeutic use of self in your sessions. All right, next, let's talk about empathy, okay? Not sympathy, empathy. Our clients do not want us to feel sorry for them. They do not want that. That is not something that they are interested in. Now, what they might be interested is us empathizing with them, all right? So listening to them, understanding their perspective and their challenges and the things that they're going through, the hardships that they face, okay? So I'm not telling you that you're going to get exactly how they feel. You're not. Unless nobody feels the exact same way, okay? We are all individuals. We all feel things differently, okay? But like, when they're expressing their challenges, their concerns to us, we can always empathize with them. We can always be that listening ear and kind of find that source of our personal hardships, okay? So if our client is being very open and honest with us and saying like, hey, like, this specific area in my life is super challenging for me, you can easily go into your brain and think of something that is super challenging and makes you feel similar to what they're feeling, and use that emotion to connect with them and to empathize with them, okay? We're not feeling sorry for them. They're not lesser than us. They're not inferior to us. They are equals to us, and we are there to help them and to support them. And so I feel like empathy is a huge part of using therapeutic use of self to connect with your clients. Like, being able to say, hey, like, I don't know exactly how you're feeling, but I've gone through this situation and it's made me feel very similar to how you're saying you feel right now. And that way you guys can connect and say, hey, we are not going through the same challenges. We are not going through the same thing, but this feeling that you're feeling is not a stranger to me. Like, I felt this way too. And now some people may take that as, oh, like, I just want to tell you how I feel. I don't need you to try to connect your experiences to my experiences. And if that's the case, that's okay too. If they are a client that just wants you to listen and let them vent and let them tell you, like, these things are going on and I feel this way, but they don't want you to try to connect with them or bring in similar situations to them, that's okay. Some people like it and some people don't. Listen to your client. That's what empathy is, listening to them. Listen to them and figure out what their wants and needs are, and use that to build rapport or therapeutic use of self in your sessions. All right? Next, we are going to talk about encouragement. I can't tell you how much using encouragement in my sessions changes just the vibe of my session, okay? I don't work with adults, but I'm pretty sure I am an adult, and I love when people encourage me and try to motivate me and tell me, you can do it, you can do it, you can do hard things, you are a strong and smart individual, and you can do amazing things. Like, if I had somebody telling me that all the time, I feel like I would just be on top of the world. You can tell me anything, I'd be able to accomplish all the things, okay? So that is what I do with my kids all the time. Like, when we're doing strengthening tasks, when we're doing things that they just do not want to do, I am literally a cheerleader. Like, you will literally hear me back there saying, you got this, you can do this, I'm so proud of you, I love how you're not giving up right now. And like, I literally say all these things to them, because hearing those words, hearing my excitement, and hearing that I believe in them, it kind of makes them believe in themselves. Like, they're like, man, Miss Shania is going hard for me right now, okay? Like, if she's going this hard, I gotta go hard for myself. And so I just love encouragement. Like, that piece of my session is like so fun, because I genuinely do believe in all my kids. Like, I believe that they can do anything that they set their mind to. And so having that energy, saying those words to them, letting them know that you can do hard things, that is exactly what I want them to believe. I want them to believe that in themselves, so that they can start to tell themselves that when they're not in my session and they go home and things are hard for them, they can't put on their shoes, they can stop, take a deep breath, and say, Miss Sho said that I can do hard things, so I can do hard things, and I'm going to continue to try until I'm able to do it. And so encouragement is, I love using encouragement throughout my sessions in order to establish therapeutic use of self, okay? I feel like all people can benefit from encouragement, okay? So go right now and go encourage somebody else. Go encourage somebody else, and hopefully that encouragement that you're instilling in others, you'll hear it yourself. So when I'm telling them you can do hard things, I need to remember that when I'm doing hard things and I feel like I want to give up, that I can do hard things as well, all right? So yeah, that's encouragement, all right? On to the next. All right, next we're going to be talking about collaboration. All right, remember, therapeutic use of self is all about using yourself, your personality, in order to connect with your client, in order to encourage them to engage in their occupations, right? So what is more encouraging or motivating for a client if they have a say in what they do, okay? Like, collaborating, that's literally what that is. We're collaborating, putting our brains together and figuring out what's the best course of action in order to help them reach their goals, all right? And so I use this with my kids all the time, all right? So I call it compromising. And I know that's a pretty good big word, but I'm using this word with like 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, okay? They understand what a compromise is, because I'm like, okay, this is Miss Sho's plan. This is what I want to do today, but what do you want to do today? And so they're like, oh, and adults are asking me what I want to do. Like, that's unheard of probably for them, right? And so then they'll tell me their plan and what they want to do, and we'll compromise, and we'll figure out a way to get my needs met and their needs met in a compromise. And we're collaborating together, putting our plans together and figuring out what works for us, okay? That is so motivating, especially for children. Like, they're like, I get to decide what I do? Like, this is unheard of. This is crazy. Kids spend their entire lives listening to adults tell them what to do. And so giving them that little piece of autonomy and allowing them to make their own decisions, and knowing that somebody is actually listening to what they want to do, I feel like that is a huge piece of therapeutic use of self. Like, that builds major connections, okay? They know that Miss Shania she's listening to me. She's open to hearing what I have to say. It's not Miss Sho's way or the highway, okay? Like, we can talk about it. We can figure it out together, all right? So that is another piece of therapeutic use of self, collaboration. On to the next. Okay, last but not least, advocacy is a huge part of using therapeutic use of self in your practice, okay? So, advocacy, I mean, that is a big word, but it really does entail a lot of things that you should be using when you're trying to establish therapeutic use of self. All right. So you're going to be advocating to parents. Okay. Especially if you work with kids. like I do, you're going to be advocating to parents for your kid, okay? So that kid might need other services, okay? They might need speech, they might need PT, they might need psych, they might need whatever. And it's your job as the occupational therapist, as the trained health professional, to advocate to the parents, to advocate to other services that this is what your kid needs. Sometimes you might have to advocate to your client about what your client needs, because they might not understand what they need, and you have to advocate to them as the knowledgeable and skilled therapist. All right, like, you have the knowledge, you have to use that to advocate for what is best for your kid. All right, or sorry, your client. I have to remember to use general terms because not everybody works with kids, but yeah, so it's your job to advocate in all aspects, okay? Just to get your client what they need in order to thrive, okay? So if a kid needs speech, you have to be the one to advocate to the parents to allow them to be screened so that a speech therapist can come look at them and see, okay, yeah, I think they do need speech, okay? And so think about that though. Like, if a kid is having speech difficulties, but they're not in speech therapy, how frustrating is that for them? That they aren't able to express their needs, or they aren't able to understand directions during your OT session. That has to be frustrating for them, right? And so it's our job as OTs to go advocate to whoever necessary and let them know, like, hey, this kid needs speech services, okay? Like, this is impeding on our OT sessions in this way, okay? And so because this is happening, we need to get a speech therapist in here right now to look at them, okay? And so you gotta be respectful, all right? Because parents can still say no. They can still say, no, I don't think my kid needs speech services or whatever, and you can accept that answer. But I believe it's on our part to, as much as possible, continue to say, like, hey, these are the challenges that I'm seeing in our sessions. Speech can help with this in this way. And this is just one specific way. I do this with PT, I do this with speech, I do this with whatever it needs the kid has. But yeah, so your job is to advocate for them to whoever needs to hear it. All right, that's our job. And just imagine how, as kids, they probably don't get it, but like, I can only imagine as adults, like, man, like, they didn't realize they needed this service this bad, and then this person advocated for them to get this service, and now they got it and they see a huge improvement in whatever. I'm just like, that is just huge for building that connection and building that rapport between client and therapist. So therapeutic use of self is like all those things, all right? You need to be very transparent when you're trying to use therapeutic use of self. You need to advocate for your client. You need to empathize with your client. You need to encourage your client and collaborate with your client, okay? All 5 of those things are huge and major in establishing therapeutic use of self in your practice, all right? So those are the 5 that I have. I'm sure there's more great ways to incorporate or to establish therapeutic use of self in practice. So if you have any more ideas or any resources to help everyone better understand therapeutic use of self, please drop them down in the comments below. I would love to hear them. I don't think this is all encompassing. This is just what I thought of whenever I was sitting down to think about what exactly is therapeutic use of self. So I hope this video helped you understand it a little bit better. I feel like it's a very vague subject, so I really wanted to just sit down and talk about it a little bit more. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.